Hi, today we're discussing the equivalency theory. In this theory, it is presented that the number one mistake in distant education after a report was given to the government saw that distant educational programs failed when they just tried to simply convert a typical face to face classroom course into an online course, just simply changing the face to face interface to that of an online interface. That doesn't work under the equivalency theory. The equivalency theory essentially states that any distant educational course needs to be equivalent to that course that could be taken face to face and not identical. Equivalency could be simply just the access to resources that you would have with a face to face course or with the outcomes that an instructor should hope that their students taking the course receives. Those outcomes for the face to face course versus the distant educational course should still be the same. Students should still be able to receive adequate resources and still be able to take the course with the consideration that they are learning at a distance. The expectation should not be that students can still follow steps A, B, C that they will be able to follow in a traditional face to face classroom because they're not in the traditional face to face classroom. So, under this theory, he wanted to stress that educators who are planning and implementing a K 12 or higher educational course that is going to be used online as a distant learning course needs to think about the equivalency of the course to one that could be taken face to face, not identical to that course. However, will the students be able to gain the same experience that they would be able to gain? Will they still be able to learn the same things? Will they still have access to the same resources if they were taking it face to face? I think when K 12 organizations or higher educational organizations are planning distant learning courses that will be used online, that is the focus that they need to emphasize. Could the students taking this course be able to access information, learn and master the concept, and still have accessible, ample amount of resources to be successful with that content if they were taking this course in a traditional based face to face classroom? That is the number one perception that the instructors of those courses need to consider following this equivalency law. He was extremely adamant in making sure that educators do not just try to simply change the name from face to face to distant learning and think that students can still have the same outcome with the planned materials for the face to face classroom. Just take time to make sure that students don't receive a lesser rigorous or a less rich educational experience because they're online learning. They should be able to feel just as educated, just as competent after, and feel just as supported being online. So essentially, that is the equivalency theory. Thanks.